Well, good afternoon, West Ham fans. Doing the Europa League quarterfinals. But anyway, let's talk about the David Moyes press conference ahead of the game against Villa on Sunday. Yes, everybody, Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well, my friends. When you and they give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a subscribe. It's Friday, so it can mean one thing. It is Hammer's Headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. As always, on a Friday, we take the Friday session, the Friday sesh, and we dissect the David Moyes press conference. Now, a little bit cheeky today. It was actually this morning, so there was no real reference as such to the Leverkusen, and it wasn't even put on the West Ham website, but released on YouTube. They had to get in front of us. That was it, because we always beat them to the pass, I'm sure. But anyway, check out needsonmybrand.com for the latest news, reviews, and opinions. Let's get into it. Let's talk about team news ahead of the game on Sunday, and not much difference, to be honest. Not sure. Cornet certainly won't be. He's only just back on the grass. Emerson will be a late call to see how he is. He's not got a serious injury, just a little groin strain, or we heard it was an issue tissue. So maybe he doesn't, maybe he just said that by mistake. And we'll need to see how he is. So no reference to Lucas, who obviously had suffered his shins. As always, it's his calves. There's something wrong with his calves. He must have shin splints or something, because every time he goes down, the first thing they do is massage his calves. Good job. Good job to have in it. So would we be the same as on yesterday? I think, well, Emerson was given a 7 to 14 day turnaround on his issue. So maybe Emerson might be back for the game. After that, we do have a 2-week gap in terms of the international breaks. So I wouldn't be surprised they tried. You can push, it might work. I imagine you will see, well, I hope you see Emerson back. If not, Aaron Crystal, maybe 2 games in a week. Anyway, he's got his redemption. Asked about Villa, very good side. They have been, manager's done a brilliant job there. He's got them in the quarterfinals of the Conference League, where they've been drawn against Lille, which is a great achievement, and they've knocked on the door of the Champions League. So we've done a great job, and it'll be a really tough game against Villa. Obviously, our coefficient scores have been helped by us knocking out Freiburg. Moyes was asked about that question, saying, where was it? Where was that one? In terms of the 5th spot, pleased that the country got another spot, or could get another spot, but obviously it's a great competition. I don't know if it'll be great that we're the ones who are helping if it's not us getting it, basically. So I'm not absolutely convinced of the coefficient situation, to be honest. But overall, look, we can do what we do and look after ourselves. Asked if West Ham would be in a 5th space Champions League spot. Is that realistic? Probably not realistic, if I'm being honest. But we have to keep believing. There is an outside chance we could do it. If we could pick up a couple of wins in this league, gives you momentum, gets you closer. So we have to attempt to do it. But I have to say, the level of this competition in front of us is very stiff. Ooh, misses. It's not going to happen, is it? Not going to happen. Obviously, one sort of really big positive coming out of the game yesterday was a rejuvenated Mohamed Kudus. And now he's going to be, he's very much a confidence player. And, with that goal particularly, he's going to really, really see. I think he's going to kick on now and get back to where he was pre-AFCONs. Asked about Kudus and the goal, he says, one of the great recent West Ham goals. I mean, look, it's a great goal and a great performance from Mo. It's been coming. He's just beginning to find his form a little bit after the AFCONs. Really, it was a great goal. But look, I think Thomas Susic scored a great goal the week before as well. Emerson scored a great goal from outside the box. So we've scored a really good few goals recently. Asked about Kudus' goal, the last goal. It's a bit of an old-fashioned winger's run and snaky hips, trying to get people as they come up to you. It was a brilliant run, a brilliant goal. It was a bit Ryan Giggs-like in many ways. But the fact about, but the thing also, he is fasting. He is fasting. He's obviously he's in Ramadan. Ramadan goes until mid-April, no, early April, April 9th, I think. So just before we play the first leg against Leverkusen. So he was fasting, in particular 5:45 kickoff as well. Don't know when sundown officially was, but I don't think he broke his. I don't know. He might have broke his fast beforehand, but it makes it even more. And he talks about the people who have got faith and they believe in it, and I think sometimes it just gives people a little bit more focus potentially. So it's quite difficult when you're not eating during the day. Obviously, as a Muslim, Ramadan. I think it's him, Zuma, and Aged. I think they're all Muslim, I believe, all three of them. So yeah, they'll be breaking their fast, and obviously they can drink water and stuff, and but that's it. Asked about being in Europe again. Obviously, he's gonna, important thing. We're around these teams. I remember when we got here 3 years ago, it was like we were saying, "Oh, good, we're going to enjoy this journey in Europe, and we're going to enjoy the games." Well, we certainly have. We've probably done better than that. We've done more than just make it a journey. I think we've made it something which is really challenging. I think teams will necessarily want to play us. That was best players. Our record in Europe's been pretty good. 3 quarterfinals in 3 years. But as I said last night as well, it's actually been a semi, a final, and we're in a quarterfinal. So let's hope we keep on moving. Let's hope we do. Obviously, we've been drawn against, as you know, by Leverkusen in the next round in the quarterfinals. The first leg will be away at Leverkusen, with West Ham being at home on the 18th of April. It's going to be a hell of a game and a hell of a day at London Stadium, as it always is with these return leg fixtures. I don't like it when we play our second leg away because it's a strange atmosphere. Yesterday was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. One of the best atmospheres I've seen for a long time, and that was against Freiburg. Do you know what I mean? And the good news is actually, if you're looking at the draw, that we will be playing the away fixture first, I believe, for the semi-final as well. If we get through, we'll be playing an Italian side. So you're going to get your trip to Italy, hopefully. We've been trying to get Milan or Rome, either and all, and it could be the Mickey Mousers in Dublin. Who knows? Asked about Calvin Phillips, as always. He got a little cameo yesterday. Obviously, with Edson Alvarez maybe obviously being suspended for the first leg of the Europa League quarterfinals in Leverkusen, may mean we turn to Calvin Phillips to fill in that void. Asked about him. He says, I can't speak about Calvin Phillips and how he feels about England. All I can say is I've said plenty about him, and he's doing well, and he's doing fine, and we'll bring him along. Obviously, he hasn't been called up to the England squad, which is hardly surprising, to be honest. Hasn't been playing, and has been playing well, even when he has been playing for us. He was then asked more about Kudus, about him as a person, and how he's sort of getting on at life at West Ham. He's very complimentary about him. He said he's a great boy to work with, very quiet, a really good lad. I think he has his own preference in terms of where he wants to play. He can play in lots of positions. Last night he scored his goals off the left at the time, but mainly scored them from the right. We know he can play as a 10 going forward, and he has played as a 9. I think the flexibility what he gives us gives great opportunities, and we've been hugely impressed by his attitude and the way he's taken to the Premier League. He's had a bit of a slow period coming back from the AFCONs, but I think he's starting to get back to it now, and that's what I see. It's taking him a while to get back. According to Luke on our WhatsApp, it's because he's changed his boots back. Apparently, when he came back from the AFCONs, he was in his Skechers. And, Jamie Redknapp sponsors them. He's a front man for that. But he apparently went back to his Pumas yesterday. So maybe that could be it. Also, not only Kudus, not only the fact we won 5-0, it's our biggest ever European result ever. I'm looking at you, Nigel Khan. I think it is. We also had another debutant. I believe it's something like our 20 or 21st debutant under Moyes. George Earthy came on for the last 10 minutes, for 5 minutes, to be honest. I was really made up for him. I've seen him play a lot for the 18s and a lot for the 21s, and I know what this means to him. You could see it on his face. I mean, that face alone was worth the admission price. To be fair, he was clearly so happy. Asked about George, he goes, it's one of the important things about being in a competition like Europe, when you're able to give young players an opportunity. It's probably a lot easier to do that than it is in the Premier League, unfortunately. But I take great pride in the players who I've been given their debuts to. Every time you give a young boy an opportunity, it's a huge thrill. But the Premier League's tough. Becomes so tough, the level of competition. They were talking about 5 teams in it could go into the Champions League. The teams are in Europe. We've got teams in the Champions League. We've got teams in the Europa League, in the Conference League. So to get young players into that level of football where they can think you can trust them and get them to meet the standards, it's not easy nowadays. Really, really tough. George has done really well. Really talented footballer. He's got a great attitude and a great future ahead of him. And he's a fantastic player. Reminds me a lot of like a Jack Grealish type character, but he's quick. He's really nippy. So it'd be interesting to see how I mean, I don't think it was unsurprising that Divine Bar wasn't brought on yesterday, for example, and Earthy was put in ahead of him because obviously he didn't sign the thing, and signed the contract, and doesn't like he's going to. One journalist asked a really interesting question for Moyes in terms of being European, and obviously he speaks about a lot of the players we've got and stuff. Is it now for West Ham a minimum requirement of qualifying for Europe, regardless of what competition? Is that what we need, a minimum requirement now? And it was really interesting what he said, actually, because he sort of suggested yes. It is, I mean, you look back, it was relegation. We were here to stop happening. Now say a bare minimum, I think that's going to be difficult to say. But I think because we've been there, we're really enjoying it. We've got a taste of it. I think we're bringing in players who are international players from some of the top countries. So they want to be in Europe. They want to see it at that level. They want to be considered these types of players. So if you want to keep bringing in coaches and better players, and if you want Jared Bowen England internationals, we need to be in Europe. We need to be knocking at the door. And I think that's key to me. It is key to be in Europe now, as a minimum. Maybe occasionally, not qualifying for a year. You look at sometimes that benefits the side. If in and around that sort of top 8, maybe. If you don't play in Europe that year, maybe you finish 9th, then you haven't got the pressures of an extra European competition that year. Yes, you might not have the pool, maybe. But you said, was it Liverpool won the league when they went in Europe the previous year or something like that? And that's what you I'm not saying we're going to win the league, but what I'm saying is it might help us. I mean, we're going to a period now where we are competing with sides who are not in Europe now. Brighton obviously got knocked out. Thinking the teams that are around in that area, Brighton, Newcastle, Wolves, none of them got Europe. None of them got at least 2 extra games now in this run-in, which we do. But anyway, go back and check out obviously neithermybrand.com. We've also did the live draw. You can go on and see that. We've done a little video about all you need to know about Leverkusen, and I think later on Holly's doing a little show about the coefficient scores as well, which we mentioned in the Dave Moyes press conference. But until then, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith. Come on, you bloody irons. See you later, potato.